It's supposed to play something. Okay, we're live. So
Mm-hmm.
here we are. Here we are. I'm so excited to be live with these amazing ladies for this possible hilarious conversation around what was your sex talk like? Did you feel the energy go, do I want to talk about how that went down? So welcome to the what was your sex talk like conversation that promises to be either incredibly embarrassing or funny or both.
All of the above and more.
All of the above. It's so interesting. Like, we had a conversation on Monday about like what was your first time like the whole like getting your period as a woman. Because it is there's these things that occur. Oh, there she is. I can add her. There's these things that occur. Becky! And we all have these like with women. I mean, unfortunately, this doesn't include men, not because we're not trying to include men, but maybe the sex talk would. Might have been funny to have someone on. But anyways, the period one doesn't really include men. But we all have these like communal things that occur to each one of us, but no one really talks about it. Until you do. And then you're like, oh my God, it was like the most horrifying thing. Like, I'll start. For me, it actually wasn't. Like, I don't remember actually having a direct sex talk with either of my parents. I remember a book. Like, my parents did a lot of the read this book. Let us know if you have questions. But I don't even think they said, let us know if you have questions. It was more just read the book. I do remember this little book with like a little chubby dude with like a little boy that was like, I think he had a leaf over his privates. I vaguely remember the book, but I'm not necessarily sure that's where I actually got the information that that's where I actually got the information that I used in my life around sex. So that was my kind of boring sex talk. But and talking to these ladies before, there are other ways in which these things occur that are quite funny. So who else wants to go? What was your sex talk like?
I'll do mine. Mine was like a discovery trail because I have 4 older brothers and sisters. It's not that naughty, but I have 4 older brothers and sisters. The closest one to me is 6 years, so they're all older, right? They were all teenagers and stuff when I was beginning to wonder what bodies were about. And so it's like I saw my my older brother making out with a girl, and I'm like, what? And then I was over at a friend's house, and she's like, so and so are kissing, and I'm like, what does that mean, right? So I'm like, I brought it up to my parents, and my father, being very religious, was like, oh, that's something that adults and when they're married do. And so it's like he was telling me even kissing was just like a married thing. To wait with this and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm like, and so I really started getting this sense of wrongness with it, right? And then my sweet, amazing mama, later, she's like, all right, here's the scoop. This is what occurs. It actually feels really good. Just make sure the guy's not an idiot. And if you do anything, tell me, not your father.
Awesome. I love it. You've got the straight shooter. You've got I really am not going to talk about that to you.
Yep.
And you've got the straight shooter. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was awesome to get that just like spin of like, oh wait, no, this is good. Okay, I can look forward to it.
All right, who's next?
I'll go next.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I literally got the book as well, Cara. And then
I wonder if it was the same book.
Well, when you guys say the book, was it like a Playboy you found, or is this like some different book?
Literally
No, it was like an actual book about sex.
Yeah,
I didn't get a book either.
It's the Birds and the Bees book.
Yeah.
Oh. I got the picture book, which was a play. No, just kidding.
And then my mom literally asked me if I had any questions, and I was like, well, no. But I also like grew up on a farm, so like you see the bull mount the cow, and then 9 months later comes the calf. You kind of have a different awareness of like what that actually is. Now, I have 2 little brothers, And I know for a fact that my dad has never, like, he would never have the sex conversation. Like, my dad was not part of that at all. And I remember asking my little brother, Sam, maybe he was 9 or maybe he was 10. I'm like, so dude, like, you're getting to that age where like girls are kind of a big deal. Like, what do you like in a girl? Like, do you like a girl with boobs? Do you like a girl with a nice ass? Like, what is it? And he's like, well, she just got to make a good apple pie. And I said, whoa, dude, you have got to ask for more than that if you're going to, like, come on. And I'm like, you should maybe ask for her to be good at a blowjob. Like, that's kind of important. And his eyes got really big and he like, shut up. Now he's like 18 years old. He's grateful. Like, he even said to me one day, he's like, well, my girlfriend, she makes really good apple pies and she gives a good blowjob, Ashley.
Ashley's story isn't about getting, like, she was the one giving people sex talks, apparently.
Well, I knew my dad wouldn't do it. I was like, the little kid needs some information here.
I love it. All right, Becky, let's hear yours.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. This is an interesting topic, you guys.
It is. I hope everybody is like on.
I'm already, and then because you know what, I shared it to my timeline. I'm like, oh shit, my mom's gonna see this.
So was mine. Hi, Mom.
Right?
My mom actually, like, I love her to death. She's like, I couldn't really watch your thing, but somehow she created it as a viewing party.
So everybody got to watch it from her page. She like
Exactly.
So the whole family got
to. She's like, I never got to see it. I really wanted to watch it. And I'm like, it's okay, Mom. But maybe she'll see this then. So hi, Mom.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hi, Mom, if you're watching this. And my brothers, I guess, because they're my friends too. Because what I was gonna say is, like, when I was little, my brothers were. My older brother is 7 years older than me, and then I'm the youngest of 2 brothers. So then the middle one was 6 years. And do I need to say any more? Yeah, like I knew everything. And so, and it was such an interesting perspective to come from the man's point of view, because that's really what I had. Because they would tell me a lot and I would hear them and their friends say a lot. And then my parents would go out of town and then their friends would be in the bedrooms.
It's like you got the sex talk by osmosis by older brothers. I love it.
Well, and you know, it really did actually create some cool things in my world, because I was able to hear how men really talk about women.
Ooh.
Actually, that's true. I had a male roommate. Like, I mean, obviously it's not when I was a child, but when we were older, I had a platonic male roommate. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
Hanging out with him and his friends, and we would do like male and female interpretation. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating to see behind that curtain.
Yeah, it was a whole different perspective. So I actually kind of had the advantage against these poor guys, and that I came up against, because like I get like what men talk about and like what they're looking for. And you know, being the chameleon capacities that I have, I would be it. And so I guess I used it to my advantage. My sex talks were from, you know, what I learned, it was from my brother and my brother's friends. My mom would try to talk to me about it, but I really was having none of it, because I just didn't, just her point of view of listening to, you know, her ask me about sex and like if I'm having sex and what we were doing and like, was I enjoying it? And like, I just was having none of that. So,
Well, who would?
and oh geez, this just came up. Okay, one more thing, and then I'm done. So when I was little, on Sundays, my parents' bedrooms were always locked in the morning. Get where I'm going with this? You get where I'm going with this? It was locked for a reason, and I should have known that. But no.
Would you climb in the window? Doors locked. Must get in.
How to pick the lock. So I picked the lock. I slowly opened it up, and I got to see my mom and dad having sex. I slowly, mortifiedly shut the door And I think I was in my room for the whole day, sick. Like you could just never unsee. I could never unsee that.
You may still be in your room, maybe all dream.
Story.
Oh my
I don't know
God,
if I can come out of that one, Becky. My God.
So note to self: if the door's locked, there's a reason.
Don't pick the lock.
Don't
Don't
pick the lock.
pick the
You'll
lock.
learn more about sex than you ever want, and it'll be your parents. Yeah.
All right, Simone, follow that one up.
All right. So, unlike a lot of you, more probably closer to Danielle's experience, I grew up with a British mother. I went to an all-girls school. I'm laughing so hard, my makeup's running. And so my dad was trying to convince me till I was basically 12 that I still arrived on the deck wrapped in a blanket from a stork. That was going to be his story for the rest of my life. Even though we grew up on a farm, I saw, animals having sex, but I didn't connect the two things. It was like, la, 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 we don't do that. And so I remember a little friend of mine, she was like, I guess we were 10, and her mom was a nurse. And so she told me all about sex, and she had a book, and I asked her all kinds of questions, but otherwise I would have never found out. Because when I was about 14, my mom looked me sort of in the eye and then looked away, and she said, about the, and I said, yes. And that was my sex talk.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where were all these books, Becky? We never got books.
I did. I snuck into the room again and found the drawer full of Playboys.
I was gonna say Becky had other books she was like that she got information from, but I think that's what the book was called. Where Do Babies Come From? That was the book that I
didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Where I got all of my information. It was like super helpful.
Yeah. I didn't have any of those, and my parents were religious, and didn't even have Becky's kind of. I had nothing.
Yeah.
I had the animal.
You know what? I
kingdom,
actually had this
teenagers.
conversation then with my kids, right? Like, so I have, well, not my son. I didn't have this conversation with my son, but my two older girls. Like, I remember like speaking to this, and I was like, you know what? Have sex with whoever you want. Go ahead. I said. Because when you talk about this, I was like, have sex with whoever you want, but just remember that you are like a gift, and like, you're giving them a gift. Like, do they deserve this? And like, just have that in mind. And my daughters haven't even had any boyfriends yet, so I mean, that talk either worked or it scared them away. I don't know.
I would have to ask him, but I think my brother probably I think my sister and I, over all the years and just things we would say in front of him probably kept him far away from women longer than he may have chosen it, because we were always a little bit direct with things like that, and he was always like, And having said that, I also am one of those people. I'm like, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear family. Don't talk to me about your situation. I don't want to hear about sex with you guys. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Well,
My brothers were the complete opposite.
I think what's really interesting about this conversation is how much it's takes a tribe. Because a lot of there isn't one, obviously there's not one way to have this conversation, and most often it's uncomfortable for one or all parties.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me, I completely forgot about this.
What?
The sex talk, the sex education I actually got, I had this babysitter that I could ask anything. She would tell me anything. And that's how I learned about it, because otherwise I would still, I wouldn't have learned anything.
And I've been the aunt to a couple of my nieces and nephews that they came to for details or suggestions, or that they weren't bad or wrong, or any of that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is interesting that it's the tribe, how the cycle goes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, ladies, for coming on and having this conversation, this hilarity of conversation. We are going to have another one coming up in a few days. And this one takes the where did babies come from to a whole different level, because this will be a conversation around all the ways that we are told that you can get pregnant, can't get pregnant, all the things. Like, do you play baby roulette? And if you do, what is that all about? So I'm really excited about that one. And for all of you wondering why the hell we're even having these conversations, we're just trying to get your attention, because coming up this weekend, there's an amazing free Zoom that I would love to invite you to called Baby Talk. So the babies are talking. Are you wanting to say hello? So thank you, ladies. And we'll see you guys for the next installment of Hilarity. And we hope you join us. Bye.
Bye, guys.
And if you're watching this, Mom, I love you.